Welcome back to Call for Help. Well, one of the things that really can speed up your computer, it's something we don't always think about, a new hard drive. The new hard drives these days are faster, they're so much bigger, and they're really cheap. You can get a 120 gigabyte hard drive for like $150 or less. And they are a lot faster. So Roger's going to show us how to do one of the best upgrades you can do to your computer, especially if it's a couple of years old.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting that you said, you know, $150 because I spent that much for 53 megabyte hard drive.
Ages ago, yeah.
So it's like, you know,
not even so late ago, a few years ago.
Like 4 years ago, it's like
hard drive. Everything's loading in off the hard drive. You write to the hard drive all the time. A slow hard drive really does slow your system down.
Yes, and especially as people are moving to XP, that it alone requires a gigabyte
it's
of space.
Huge, right?
You get all these games, programs, movies, MP3s. It's amazing. I have an 80 gigabyte hard drive and I'm already using 75% of the space.
Plus, a second hard drive is a great thing to have for backup, for reliability. It's not a bad thing to have two hard drives.
And I put my scratch drive on it, so you know.
So show us how we're going to install this. First of all, we open the case again like we did last time.
We open the case, so we make sure everything's off. You ground yourself.
Ground yourself.
Touch a piece of
no
plumbing.
Static.
So you're not
no
shorting
power
anything.
Plugged in.
Want to make sure you have space for another hard drive. First of all, I mean, you know,
before you even buy one, you should do this.
Yeah. Now, if you want to replace it, it's probably not a big issue. But if you just want to add a second or even a third hard drive, you want to make sure you have the room, because if you don't have the room, you're not going to be able to stick in the other.
So what are we looking for? We're looking for an empty bay, right?
We're looking for an empty 3.5-inch bay, and most PCs normally come with at least two. Most now actually 3 or 4.
You'll be able to see your old hard drive in there, and then just look for more space where that is.
Below it.
You don't need anything on the front. You're not going to be. It's not a floppy. You're not going to insert anything, but look for space below it. Yep. You also want to make sure you have power for it, right? And a cable connector.
Most PCs usually include enough power tails for 1 or 2 extra hard drive.
If not, you can buy a splitter for that.
You can buy a splitter, and you know most power supplies will support it straight.
Yeah, you can sometimes get in trouble if you put too much in there. Also, you want to make sure that your cable. Show them the IDE cable. There's room on the cable. Yeah.
If you have room on the cable, if not, you might have too many devices. If you already have 2 hard drives, 2 CD, or 1 CD and 1 DVD.
It's not unusual.
You might not have enough IDE cable, and you're going to have to give up one of those devices.
Or buy an extra card.
Buy a card, sits in the back. Very easy to do.
So we've done all that. We know we can fit in one in. Now what?
We can fit one in. We get our hard drive. Now, first, we want to make sure we have what we call our jumpers set correctly. Now, if I turn this over to...
There he is. He's above you. He's
above me. As you can see,
like
there's this little space right here. And basically, these jumpers basically set the drive to either a master or slave. Now, what is master and slave? It's a way for a PC to tell which drive it's talking to.
The boot drive is the master. The secondary drive is the slave.
Is the slave.
Okay, we're going to see if we can get a shot here. So don't move, because they want to keep it in focus. And I'm going to point with this screwdriver.
Right,
the jumpers are right there, right?
And basically what you do is when you put that little block, see that little rectangular square on the last 2 pins? It just basically completes an electrical connection, giving you one circuit telling it.
So how that's positioned will determine if it's a master or a slave. Okay.
And you can usually find that out available on the top of the drive. If it's not on the top of the drive, it usually comes with the drive in a sheet. If you lose a sheet, go to the manufacturer's website and you can download a diagram of the exact same.
Now, if you're replacing the drive, just jumper it the same way as the old one, make it the master.
And most of the times when they come out of the box, they're already jumpered as a master drive.
So you might not have to do anything at all.
Exactly. In this case, I jumpered it as a slave because I want to use it. Still want to use the original hard drive in addition to the one I'm adding it.
That's the easiest upgrade because you don't have to reinstall Windows or anything. You're just putting a second drive
and you get you got that much more space.
Right.
So first thing we want to do is make sure that we can fit the drive without any trouble. So I'm just going to nominally slide the drive into where I think it should fit or will fit. In this case.
Depending on how crowded the case is, that can be
and
difficult.
then I know it's going to seat right there. I'm going to want to make sure the screw holes are open so I won't have any problems trying to stick in a screw and mounting it in. Now, for certain cases, you actually want to connect it first because it's so tight.
Right.
So you want to connect these cables first.
Because you can't get in,
because you can't get in otherwise.
Yeah.
So, again, as most PC devices are made today, they're actually keyed, so you can't put them in backwards.
Just in case.
Just in case. So if you can't fit it in the first time, don't force it, because you could break or bend something.
Right.
So let's put in.
Almost always you're going to want the red.
The red to the power source on the right.
That's the #1 pin on the cable.
However, in some cheaper cables I've noticed is the red's either very faint or non-existent.
Right.
So the key will always.
There's your
stay
power
where-
tail. That can only go in one way,
That
too.
can also go in one way. Some drives actually have a really tight fit, so make sure it is the correct way, and you're going to have to give it a little force. And once
And
you
never
have it
pull
in,
that out by the wires, because the wires will come right
no.
out.
It's the same way you don't pull your TV out by the wire
Oh,
from
I
the
do
wall,
that all the time.
which is bad because you're afraid of the wire, and eventually you can start a fire.
I know.
Mount the screw. And now, most people might want to consider putting screws on both sides.
I usually like to.
I put it only on two sides just because nowadays the bay itself is
Sometimes
tight
it's
enough
hard
that
to
it
get in
won't
there.
slide. But
Yeah.
if you're using a larger bay where it's going to start sliding,
Right.
you should put it on both
Stability is important. You don't want to drive rattling around. It can cause
sides. Now, once
problems.
this is all installed, you can actually close it up. I don't actually put one screw, but you should put the other one as well.
Right.
Close it all up. Don't put the side on it. Give it some power. You boot into Windows. Now, Windows XP in 2000, unlike the older versions of 98 and SE where you actually needed to boot separately into DOS to get your drive ready to work with Windows, you can actually do it within XP. Now, as I double-click on my computer, I actually have a new hard drive in here, but it's not. It doesn't show up.
Right. I only see C. I don't
only
see
see
D.
it. So how do
I see it?
Well, you simply right-click on your My Computer, go to Manage, and then as soon as it pops up,
This is the computer management console, which is really a nice feature.
it's a nice feature. It's a little advanced, but just double-click on Storage, and then what you want to click on is Disk Management. Now you'll notice right here at the bottom, I have my new 232 gigabyte hard drive.
It just hasn't been
It
partitioned
hasn't
or
been
formatted.
partitioned. Now, if I want to partition, simply right-click on that drive, click on New Partition, and it'll walk me through with the wizard. Now, if I want, I can make the entire drive, it's
A single partition.
A single partition, or if I want, I can divvy it up into 2s, 4s, or even 5s.
We have a number of articles, some of which I've written on the website, about how you might want to consider partitioning a drive. We'll put a link in
Yeah,
there.
and especially with larger drives, you might want to consider just
Dividing
it up
Yeah.
just for more efficiency.
After you partition, you format, and then
Format,
it's visible.
You got new drives, and you can use it as you would any other hard drive, drag and drop, and
It's a really easy upgrade. It can not only speed up your computer, but give you a lot more space.
But that's again, hard drives are one thing that is never going to go out of style. You can always need more
So
space.
you always need more space. Roger, nice job. If you want to know more about installing a hard drive, well, there's only one place to turn. Our website, techtv.com/call.